went and checked out the fucking Garden of the Gods, and it was amazing, man. I always like being out there in nature and just seeing what this world has to offer. It's one of the best things in life. It's an energy. It's a garden of energy, and the energy comes from this earth, and it's presented in just massive mountains and structures, and it's just something that makes you feel so small, but like just feeling the vibrations of the natural earth currents is just, it's something to experience, and that goes with any nature. But Garden of the Gods is something I've experienced twice now, and I love it. I fucking love it.
Like, we almost didn't get to go, you know? So, I mean, and I could hear it in your voice when you would say it. You're like, yeah, I want to go.
Yeah.
You know?
I try to be like respectful and have like a just like constructive conversation when it comes to stuff like that. It doesn't have to be conflict or anything like that. I feel in my soul that I should be there, and that's why I just stay adamant about the things that I feel strongly about in life like that. It's one of those things you carry with you and you keep thinking about, and you're like, man, I should have fucking gone.
Right.
Man, I should have gone. Those are the things, like, when it crosses my mind like that, all right, I need to do this shit.
You don't want to look back and ever say, fuck, I should have gone that route or stopped here and stopped there. You know, it's very important to see the little things, and especially after, you know, all that pandemic shit and everything being weird and wild for a while. It's nice to see things coming back to a sense of normalcy. Yeah,
normalcy. It's the normalcy that you make, though, because some people or are still stuck in that rut and they can't pull themselves out. And I've been guilty of that. You know, you just get in the cycles of your life and your structured day-to-day routine, and it's easy to fall into that and be like, you know, I'm done with work. I'm tired. I don't want to do anything. But we are only given so much time. Just waking up early and utilizing the full day and everything it has to offer is just something that we are kind of numb to. We just take it all for granted in ways, and I'm guilty of it just as everybody else is, though. So, but being aware and conscious of your surroundings and, you know, what you want to get out of this world and the amount of time we have to get it, that's what it's about.
It's cool to have somebody from Idaho actually be able to come out and do this show, especially being that this was something that started in Idaho, and it's been an Idaho-based show for a long time.
Right, so I'm bringing a little bit of Idaho home to you here in Colorado, you being a transplant.
Here at Youngblood Podcast, it's always been something that we try to focus around the theme of, you know, like, do as the locals do. Right. And that could be a lot of things to a lot of people. To me and to Youngblood Podcast, it's basically what keeps this show running. You know what I mean? Is the people that I bring on, because, you know, I've tried to do solo content, and, you know, it's something that I can do, but it takes a lot more preparation. It takes a lot more structure. You know, not a lot of people are just going to listen to you sit there and talk into a microphone. So you've really got to do a lot of work and,
absolutely,
you know, writing scripts and keeping up on current events, especially, and, you know, really interactive videos that make you catch your eye and, you know, keep people watching, you know. Right.
It's a real thing for sure. Yeah, let's get a cold one, bud.
That fucking... I like that liquor store right here.
Dude, I mean, the salted caramel, bud.
I think they have broken refrigerators because every time I go there, and there's a bottle opener right there, up there for you, my friend. Every time I go there, man, like, I've even gotten free beer before because of the fridge is not working.
Oh, shit. Oh. Oh, gotcha. I'm sure it wasn't pleasant. I was just struggle busting it.
I bought that at the thrift store.
You don't have to justify my struggle. It's all right. I could eat that. I adopted, like, I embraced the struggle, but the face that I did while I was struggling, I just probably subpar.
I've got this awesome koozie here that it actually says keepthepartysafe.org. And what they are is a organization that does their best to inform people on the safety, what you can do to help avoid a fentanyl overdose. You know, I came across them over at Fiddler's Green Amphitheater in Colorado. They were passing out free Narcan. And to me, super cool.
Amen to that, man. Never know what's in those freaking substances that we all like to consume. But, you know, Mac Miller OD'd on fentanyl. And
rest in peace, King.
He is gone but not forgotten, man. Still touching souls, inspiring people. One of the, if not the greatest, in my opinion.
Easily. My first ever concert that I ever went to, believe it or not, was Mac Miller. It was Mac Miller and Action Bronson. Mac Miller and Action Bronson, dude. It was so freaking cool because I was 16 years old and I'd never even been to a show ever before. And I was living right next to the Revolution, though, right? When first couple years it opened up. And I think I was working at like Wendy's or something at the time. So I had money for the show. And I just had the absolute best time in my life ever, man, you know. And
what year did you say this was?
2010, 2011, you know, something like that. I was still in high school, you know. So I mean, and like I said, it was my first.
What year did he pass, dude? I can't think on the top of my head.
2018.
That sounds right. We got computers that we carry around in our pockets.
We got pocket
and
computers,
sometimes
man.
we just need to utilize that tool that we have as a species, because sometimes I'm just like, oh, I wonder.
I used to have somebody who was producing the show in the back scene, because what I really thrived on back in the beginning stages of the podcast was structuring myself for success at the beginning of the recording. And by that, I meant I didn't know how to edit, so I would have to do everything perfect, you know, and make my show look better than it was, and do the camera angles and where it would switch from one camera to another as one person was talking. And I would have somebody sitting on the computer pressing spacebar every time we switched, so it would switch the camera. Right. And the way that you would have to do that is you would have to hook up both cameras and the audio into a studio software and do it live. And it's called a live. Now I edit everything in post-production. And that
makes the most sense. I mean,
it makes the most sense, but it also takes the most time to get there.
Right.
You know, especially being somebody who does the entire back end of the show on top of hosting it and on top of marketing it, on top of managing it. You know, it comes down to being like, once you get 50 hour or 50 posted podcast episodes, you know, this is on my second season too. For episode 49, by the way. We were almost on
49?
episode 50. I
was hoping it was 50, bro.
I thought so too.
It's like 50 50th podcast. I got 50 dreadlocks.
Hey!
50 states. No, I'm just kidding. It crossed my mind when I put it there too.
This,
I was like, oh,
this piece of machinery is only worth about $100. It's not. It's not the end of the world. You know, it's not a $500 fucking
so
soundboard.
You add up everything that you have here, like you've got quite the investment, and then on top of that, the most valuable thing you can have in this world is your time, and you've invested that more than anything. So any couple $100 that you've invested in this, like, it doesn't compare to the amount of time that you'll never get back that you've invested in it. So I respect it all, dude. I respect people's property to begin with, but like, and this is your passion. So like, obviously,
you said it yourself. The biggest part,
right?
You know, with that, the time that I put into this is not nearly as important as the time that other people have put into it to me.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, you are taking people's time to consume your media. And I mean, like I said, it's the most valuable commodity that we have that we can never get more of. And we don't know how much we have. So literally that perspective on everything. So, and it's your passion, bro. Like, you're putting your heart and your energy into this. And that's something that I personally always, with any sort of art or anything like that, I appreciate it, because the world needs more of that, because, you know, it's just your energy that you're putting out that other people get to enjoy without knowing you on a day-to-day level. You know what I mean? That's what I love about art in any form. So respect, bruv.
I appreciate that. And it's tough for me to consider myself an artist at times, you know, because something that I do here isn't something that everybody else would consider art necessarily. I don't paint. I don't make music, but this is content. And, you know, there's, like you said, hours, days, weeks of my time and my energy and my own self-growth that I've put into this, because, you know, back when I first started doing any recordings, I like I told you, like we were talking about earlier, I couldn't handle listening to myself or watching myself. I would cringe and just be like, ugh, you know. And a lot of what I would do before is I would just record it and get it to how I liked it. And like I said, I did all of those recordings in one go. I wouldn't necessarily have to watch myself.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Which to me was one of the worst things I could have done when it comes down to growing as a podcaster or even as a comedian or somebody that performs, you know. If you cannot sit there through your own performance, who's to say that other people will?
Right.
You know, and to a sense, you know, like, just because you don't like what you're doing doesn't mean other people won't. But how are you going to get better if you can't actually watch yourself and learn?
I mean, how are you going to get better as a human, period, in your craft as whatever you want? Or, just as being a human, a responsible, be your critic, be hard on yourself, but also be nice to yourself and be that positive critic that, like, holds yourself to a high standard. We're always going to be our worst critics, but be your positive critic. Like, be nice to yourself, be critical with yourself, but have it be from a place of love and a place of just wanting to be a better person. And I think that's the key to life, is just like holding yourself to a high, respectable standard and pushing yourself to get there. Get there, man. Like, you're worth it. You're worth loving yourself. It's worth it, dude. It's worth putting in that work.
To add to that, I was talking to O'Shea, a really, really good friend of mine who I've been doing a lot of collaborations with on social media, and he is a podcaster and a avid base jumper in Twin Falls. Recommend his content to anybody, also to you.
Right.
Excuse me.
I live in Twin Falls, by the way.
So that's what also makes that cool.
That's where the connection.
It's actually just
a coincidence.
Exactly. It's just a coincidence. He and I have been trying to coordinate an online podcast going, and just also I've been doing some editing for him, and I promised him a couple other things, and I've just been super busy and also healing, and I need his time to move forward with some things, and he's really busy, so we just haven't had a chance to catch each other on the phone. So I've been kind of slacking on my posting and shit. He's like, you have, he called me out. He's like, yeah, you have. I've seen that. I'm just, you're doing good, but I just want to hold you accountable. And I was like,
yeah, you have to.
But that's what he said to me. He was like, I just want to hold you accountable.
Like accountability from a good place. Those are always the best ways, because this person is only going to come to me with care and concern and just want to be my best version of myself. Honestly, you should be able to respect the message regardless of the messenger. Because, like, in a way, you're going to cheat yourself. Whatever the case may be, that you immediately throw up that wall and then really are numb to what they're actually saying. You can get something from somebody, or from anybody, I should say. It's about that perspective, just being able to receive the message regardless of the messenger. You have an opportunity to learn in any situation and from anybody. You don't always have to learn the hard way yourself, man. You could learn it from a perspective and just, being attentive to everything that's going on. But communication goes two ways, sir.
His message was pretty deep, though. It wasn't just like
that's how you received it, though. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Some people could get that abrasiveness and immediately throw up that wall and just be like, this motherfucker, like, fuck you. You're like being an asshole to me. I don't really care what you got to say. Yeah.
And just had no shame and just telling me to, like, I don't want to hear your bullshit. Get it fucking together, dude.
Yeah, those type of people are really important, There is a way to deliver a message. Not everybody has that skill set to have that side of the communication that is the empathy and coming from a place that you're actually received in the right way, and not necessarily patty caking someone's ass when you're fucking confronting them on something, but just being like, you don't have to be like, dude, what the fuck, or anything, and be like, hey, man, having that sort of mentality isn't going to get you anywhere in life. I think changing just a little bit of your thinking here and looking at it more of an opportunity to grow instead of like a fucking bitch ass challenge that's come across your plate and like, this sucks that it's me and this and that. Because once you change that mentality and it's more like, all right, man, like, what can I gain from going through this situation is the best way that I could put it, man. And once you change that perspective and you have that mentality going into challenges and trials and tribulations that you have no control over, because those are the ones that really fucking suck, man. The ones that come across your place and you're just like, well, I didn't ask for this.
Right.
Trauma or health conditions or whatever the case may be. You're like, I didn't ask for this shit. Mm-hmm. But here it is. And you can either let it beat you up and become your demise, or you can just internalize it and turn it into a strength. And a strength that you can't gain any other way but by going through that shit. So anybody else that doesn't get that comes across their damn plate, you're not going to gain the strength that I have. Mm-hmm. And once I have that strength, unlike many things in this world, you can't take it from me. Mm-hmm. You can't change that. You can't take that from my mentality and my character. And that's the key to life right there, my friend. And that's what I've learned in this life. And then I am going to be the best version of myself by going through this and gaining this strength. And nobody can take this shit from me.
Adding on to that, and somebody like you or like I who didn't come from any money, anything, it was always a struggle to start. It was always a struggle to continue. And it was always a struggle to get back on your feet. What I've always struggled with for a long period of time was, you know, I have super bad ADHD, you know, and it's something that I have been extremely crippled by as an adult, but have found a lot of ways that helped me succeed, you know, avidly working out and trying to seek healthy forms of dopamine. And because at the end of the day, that's what ADHD is it's a major lack of dopamine. Like, you don't have the ability to produce and regulate dopamine.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and a lot of people with ADHD struggle with addiction, struggle with, you know, major depression and anxiety, especially because they tend to lean towards substance abuse, form of dopamine release that they can get. And it's what makes ADHD people extremely addictive. You know, it makes their personality be extremely addictive.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
And that's something I struggled with for a long time, is trying to figure out how to work through these addictions and these struggles, and doing it without being on medication and whatnot, you know. And it comes down to, if you find something that works for you and your ADHD and not being medicated and it genuinely you're happy, keep it going, you know. But I found myself in a position where I was genuinely struggling, even through having my previously found vices that would help. Yeah. They weren't any longer working for me.
I could see that.
You know, and
it happens for sure. Yeah,
I grew out of certain things that would help. You know, the fix was temporary in a sense.
Where do you think those fixes stemmed from? Because to me, like, coping with those sort of things comes from a couple things. Finding things in this life that genuinely bring you joy, that you can do in this life, and it makes you feel good, and you're liking the moment, and you like to do it. You love to do it, because as kids, we have several things that we genuinely enjoy doing, and as we get older, we don't have enough time. Maybe we're not as healthy. We don't have the same health to do the sports or things that we like to do. So we start to cope in different ways and get away from the things that genuinely bring us joy. And then on top of that, I think another thing is not taking care of the trauma and just going to the root of why we are, like, starting to go down, and our mental health starts to spiral a little bit and whatnot. And just being accountable for those things and doing what you can to learn to love yourself and make yourself feel good. I think the self-love is the thing that we kind of lose track of, because when we, you know, I think with art and creativity, at least, you're putting your energy into something that makes you feel good and brings you joy. And then with podcasts or people that make art, visual art or music or whatever it is, it brings them joy to create this, and then to see other people that really enjoy it and brings them joy. As a woodworker, a creator, whatever that you like to do in life that brings you that joy, is like you're putting an energy out into the world that's creating more energy with happiness and inspiration and whatever it does have a reaction from putting it out there. And that's really a powerful thing. And it's the beautiful thing about being a creative and, like, putting your energy into something that isn't just like making a dollar. So I think we lose that as we grow. We like get focused on the dollar and the responsibilities that are rightfully there that we have to take care of. They're not going anywhere. But that creative and doing the things that we really love, those two things are what bring us down. But you do it and it makes you feel good, and you, like, see it and it inspires and spreads that, and it sparks something in other people. Like, that might be it right there. Like, those two things. Yeah. You know? It's great to see the reaction of something you're putting out there, dude. Like, there's no better feeling like that.
This show originally was very unstructured. You know, I just did it. I had fun with it, and it was going somewhere back when I really didn't take certain things of it and aspects of it far or seriously. Right. You know, and I actually got to the point where Radio Boise was asking me to pitch different show opportunities and trying to get me a slot on Radio Boise. I really had a 2-year hiatus where I didn't do any recording. I didn't even open the YouTube account, I felt like, you know, and it's crazy too, because all of the traction I've received has been with old footage. You know, I've gotten some views with the last couple shows that I've done. I've only done 2 Colorado episodes, and I've done a couple Colorado recordings of myself doing podcast tips, tricks, and kind of behind the scenes of how I record and what I use. But getting close to 100,000 views, because I'm at 70,000 the last month, and about 100,000 in the last 2 months.
Okay.
You know, and that's getting just YouTube. And YouTube was never the biggest part of the show. It was never something that I took a lot of time or consideration on into, you know. And it was crazy because I get back into it. I record a podcast with PD and
PD.
PD.
We love
Peter
PD.
Torres, man. I'm sure you're going to listen to this one, my guy.
Yeah, we love PD.
Shout you out. You're the best guy in the world. You know, I need to get back out there and make it happen again. Like, I did all this work. I did hours, days, weeks, 40 guests. You know, I've had 40 people, 50 different guests, you know, but with 40 episodes, I've had 40 different guests and a couple repeat offenders, you know, but
Repeats.
but it's still 40 different times, 50 different times having somebody come to my house, take the time, get recorded, do sound check, you know, and that's, if you add up my hours, their hours, the editing hours, everything together just on one episode, it adds up to over like 500 hours of time that I've just thrown into this. That to me is enough to not let it die.
I mean, that's a passion right there. And if you can't stoke that fire in your life, what you doing with your life? Maybe take a look at that and see what is going to re-stoke that fire and that passion and make you feel that burn, you know, chase it, do it.
Yeah, and veering back from me veering off, I was fucking PD fucking just has always been a major fan of the show and major fan of me in a sense of just been a big support role of my life as a friend.
Dude.
You know, and that goes so far for me because, you know, you don't really have a lot of people like that coming into your 30s.
No.
You know, there's people that just, you get through your 20s, they're who they are and who you are, and you grow.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all right.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. We all are supposed to grow and find our path in life and chase the things that set us on fire, man.
It's been a nice week, too. Just overall, the weather, the trip.
Choice.
Extremely exceptional. And the thing is, too, man, like Colorado Springs has had some of the absolute gnarliest weather I have ever experienced as somebody.
That's what you've been saying, bro. I don't
somebody
believe it.
Who lives here.
From my perspective, I haven't seen it, but I do believe you.
I don't have a whole lot of backing to my opinion. The fact of the matter is, I'm from Idaho, and it's similar in a sense. Like, Idaho is 60 to 70% as bad as this place is when it comes down to the crazy weather.
Depends on what part. Oh, yeah. The weather. Just
specifically Colorado Springs compared to
dude,
maybe...
They're both, it seems like they're both pretty bipolar, to be honest with you.
They're sister states.
Yeah, they are sister states. Twin sisters.
I would definitely give Colorado the cake on that.
The lane?
Though. Yeah,
fair enough.
Heavily, because the fact of the matter is, Colorado kicks my ass sometimes, and I'm an outdoors.
How's the weather comparable? Because you guys are in the valley there in Boise, Twin Falls. We are at the foothills there in some mountains.
Twin Falls is more.
This is the Rockies.
Side.
This is the Rockies. Like, I'm sure the mountains with the snow here is just a different vibe. Like, I bet you.
Twin Falls is probably similarly windy as Colorado Springs. This last couple years,
so windy.
Yeah, like this last wind storm we had come through this last couple of years was apparently not what it's always like.
But
Compared to Boise, it's very windy.
yeah, it's down in the valley. In Boise,
I'm saying Twin compared to Boise is very windy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Colorado Springs compared to Boise, very windy.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, Boise it just overall is spoiled with the weather they get. They have a mini California summer where it gets 110 degrees, and then it also gets negative fucking 10 degrees.
The extremes on both sides.
Yeah, here it was weird because we had honestly a winter that felt like it never fucking ended, and then we also had 2 seasons total. Like, we had winter and summer. Like,
dude, I appreciate having the 4 seasons, to be honest with you. Like, that's one thing I do really enjoy about, like, Twin Falls and Idaho is having 4 seasons. Because California, you have nice weather, and then you have, like, cold, nice weather. You know what I mean? You know, being from LA, you know what I mean? Southern California anyways. I know Central and Northern, completely different. I understand that, but you know what I'm talking about. 2 seasons here, huh? How much, how long does the snow stick around here? How late in the year?
Very long.
I could imagine with the elevation.
Very long. Because I remember towards the end of the season, And I'm actually somebody, I pay attention to this just because I have a garden and shit. So
Yeah.
my garden got its ass kicked, bro.
The hail, though. That hail is like the unexpected. I saw some cars out here. That hail is no joke. That shit is out for fucking, they got hands. It's out for blood.
No, yeah.
And the hood of your car and maybe your windshield.
Every other car you see has a fucking plethora of dents on the hood. And
I saw that one downtown today. I was like, damn. I would be so upset if I was here visiting just with my Masubi, just visiting, and I left with that damage control. I'm just like I got insurance, obviously. Everybody's got it. But
it still sucks to have
I don't want to deal with that. I don't like that.
You know, you like your car.
Hell
you
yeah.
like driving it. You have to take a rental.
I take a lot of pride in it, and I get upset on the little things that happen to it. And then Mother Nature's going to bust through the door and just get your ass, and you can just take it and move on with your life. And there's really, I say all the life lessons and stuff earlier in the show. There's no life lessons. That's just acceptance, bro. That's acceptance, and you just accept it. Mother Nature is the one that's going to be undefeated in the situation always. So take your lumps.
And now it's really cool living in Colorado and being somebody with a extended plant count medical card who's licensed to carry a pound of weed.
Good for you, though. Getting that medicine that you need, bro.
It's not like I got it for free or just like walked in there and said, "Hey, dude, I want weed." I showed them my medical records, and that's what they gave me. And
yeah, said give you some sort of normalcy. And, relief from your pain, man. Nobody should have to live with day-to-day pain that way, mentally or physically.
And actually, after my surgery recently, I learned something really cool about people who smoke heavy amounts of cannabis. Here in Colorado, they've kind of been the forefront of legal cannabis for a long time. And when I got my surgery, they were like, do you smoke heavy amounts of cannabis or not? And I was like, yeah, 100%. And they're like, oh, actually, I didn't get asked that. Somebody mentioned to me that you should mention it to them, which I did. I was like, hey, just, I have my medical card and I smoke copious amounts of cannabis. And they're like, oh, cool. Thank you so much for letting us know. And they doubled my anesthesia. Literally, because people who smoke heavy amounts of cannabis have a higher amount that they need and able to be put down properly.
I did not know that. That's wild,
dude.
bro.
Right?
I have gone into surgeries and I smoke copious amounts of marijuana, and dude, like severe, like pretty serious surgeries, and I did not know that. That's weird that they don't let you know, like
because Idaho hasn't been a place where you feel like you're safe to tell your doctor.
Absolutely not. No, that's why I said immediately good for you, bro. Getting that shit that you need, man. It's like some people genuinely it increases their quality of life. Right. And how are you going to deny that something as natural as something that grows out of the ground? And like take it beyond that and take people's freedom or their children or whatever the case may be just because they need that medicine in their life and it increases their quality of life without... It is habit building, but it's not addictive. You know what I mean? It's completely different things. These opiate crisis and all that sort of thing. But this is an alternative medicine that is natural and, it should be accessible to the people that need it. There's no reason you should have to suffer for something that can be treated by something like that. And beyond that, the research needs to be there. Let's dial some of these strands down to exactly what it can treat people and give and alleviate, symptoms in their life and dive into it, delving into Western medicine and all the other things that have improved us as a species. Why not do it? Right. Both sides. Give us all the options. I'll decide. Right. I'll decide what's best for me. I'll decide what's best for my kin. And I'll use that information and I'll make it accessible to my children and they can make their decisions. You know what I mean? We all make them, and we are the ones that are going to reap the benefits or the demise of our decisions. Let me make it. I'll decide for my life, and I'm okay with the consequences for my action.
You know what they also told me that was crazy was they said that the opiates wouldn't work on me as well. They were like, yeah, so since you have such a heavy use of cannabis in your past, the chemicals in your brain are going to cause the chemical balance in your brain is going to cause the opioids not to work on you as well at all. And I was like, yeah. But that's what my nurse told me. She's like, no, just so if you're going to smoke, don't take the pills. She said, one or the other, because they cancel each other out. And I was like, what? And she's like, yes, like, take your fucking pills or smoke your fucking weed. Don't do both. Damn. And I was like, I am so glad I told you guys.
Good ass doctor, bro.
Literally, no, that's what my doctor and my nurse both told me. And they were like, no, yeah, for sure, dude. Like, you're going to end up needing to take a double dose of your oxys, bro. Like, they're not going to work on you. And I didn't listen to them, and I ended up in the ER. Because of how much pain I was in. Yeah, dude gave me the maximum amount of Dilaudid they could give you after my surgery.
That's wild, bro.
And then after I went to the DR, they gave me 2 doses of Dilaudid and 2 Oxycontins. Because of the fucking amount of... Dude, I was at a 10. I had to have 4 firemen drag me out of this fucking room, bro.
Jesus. You're just paralyzed because of the pain.
Dude, I was literally... And I took the recommended dosage on the bottle, you know, and I don't like pills, bro, so I'm not going to take more than they tell me to, period.
I'm going to not take it if I have to.
Exactly.
Like Western medicine has its time and place, but if there's an alternative and I'm going to use... Carry on, bro. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. And so
I agree 100%.
Yeah, and so they ended up doing a nerve block in my leg, so that's why I felt so good, because like I literally had no nerves in my knee and stuff, and so I took the recommended dose.
Got an epidural in your fucking hip.
Literally, yeah. And so I was sticking to that recommended dose religiously. I'm sitting there, I'm like, fuck, like this fucking pain's like coming up fast, man. And I took another oxy on, like, because it was that time. I said, all right, cool, it's been 3 hours. I'm going to take it an hour early on this one, which I did. I took it a little earlier than I should have, and that to me was enough. More than enough of pushing
when you've had that trauma of hitting that gap where you fucking get to that, once you hit it, after that, you get a little traumatized and paranoid, like, there's a time and place, and this is the time and the place for me. Yeah. My discretion right now. So.
And taking the recommended dose, already kind of milking it a little bit, taking it a little earlier than I should, you know, and holy shit, dude, it just comes up on me like a freaking truck, dude. But once my blood pressure gets to 165, you got to take me in.
Right.
And it did. Like, I was sitting there for like an hour just fucking gritting through it, dude. A lot of it was, too, because I have hip dysplasia.
Did you feel in your back, too?
Yeah,
Coming from your hips? I'd imagine, bro.
Because, so, like, literally, I felt the pain radiating from my knee from the surgery, and they also took part of my quadricep away and did the graft there, so that there was the top side right there, And then, so that pain tightened up all right there and transferred into my hip and then transferred into my back. So I literally just was feeling like I was getting just fucking kicked by a donkey in the lower back, and then it felt like my leg was gonna explode. It was awful, and I'm just sitting there just like, whoo, like I could take pain. I got this.
Straight up, like,
I got this, you know.
Birth breathing through those fucking waves of pain, huh?
Not even birth breathing, straight going,
primal grunting, dude, through that shit,
primal fucking grunting. I know, like, I have to take care of myself in situations of emergency.
I mean, we should all be accountable for ourselves to that degree, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
Not many are, and like to say that you are is just like
yeah. And so I couldn't even get her to make a phone call or get to the phone to make a phone call. I'm sitting there just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Wow, you know. And I get to the ER that time.
Imagine if she wasn't home.
Oh, dude, yeah, I would have had to cry my happy ass, and I would have, yeah.
Yeah, your bedside manner like got you through the situation, but like, imagine if she wasn't.
Yeah,
home,
and at that point,
amen to that shit.
So you had knee surgery
twice.
I had knee surgery once
recently.
4 weeks ago today.
4 weeks.
4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago on Wednesday.
From the knife, my friend. And on the way to a better quality of life. Hell yeah.
Doctors really like surgery when you're on Medicaid.
Yeah, they like business. Business is booming,
get paid. Bro. Like, the only thing I didn't... 2 months of work, you know, and I'm projecting myself growing about 20% in the month as long as I continue the amount of content work that I'm doing. I project my growth to be about 20 to 50% per month. So, and right now my first month was 30,000 views after doing my work. And then I increased my editing, my overall marketing ability, and just kind of my knowledge behind what I'm doing, what time I'm posting, and overall YouTube analytic knowledge I have worked on. Incorporating those into the second month, I went from 3,000 views in a month to 70,000 views the next month. So far it's been about 100.
That's all on your old content, correct? So as I see the progression of your craft, in theory, that should snowball in a way.
Yeah.
If they appreciate the content and, you know, can see the progression cycle in your craft the way it has. So.
A lot of it is really growing from your past, growing from your previous creations, having the ability to sit down and watch them, especially when you're doing long format podcasting. I have a 4 terabyte storage drive on my computer just for the podcast, and it's full. I have
500 hours, like.
Recently, since I've been doing all the work I've been doing on YouTube, it's full, and I'm filling up my other like extra 2 terabytes of other storage drives that I have. Like my shit's filling up quick, you know. And now I'm switching to full 4K camera and all this stuff, you know. So it's really growing on the little things. And one thing I've noticed, you know, is are you a TikTok person? Do you watch TikTok or Reels?
Yeah, there's some content that's much easier to consume because of the way it's put together and whatnot, and it's a format that a lot of people follow with their content. You know, it works. It keeps the people invested, smooth transitions, and like gets your point across short and sweet, but at the same time, you know, it builds. But yeah, that's the way it snowballs for you. But yeah, there's definitely a difference between the content that's out there and the way it's put together.
On YouTube alone is kind of where I am focusing a lot of my energy, mainly because YouTube seems to be the more challenging one. It's
more challenging, and it's like you're getting people to invest a larger amount of time and really just kind of follow the journey of the podcast instead of just seeing the highlights that we like. We want to see the highlight reel. We want to see the main topics, the bullet points, and move on with our life. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because that's our commodity that we have.
And when I say YouTube is harder, I don't mean that TikTokers shouldn't be given the credit they deserve, you know. But something that should be pointed out is, you know, YouTube does views, TikTok does impressions. Okay, YouTube will follow your impressions and give you that number. Like, hey, you've made an impression is pretty much somebody who is exposed to your content in some way.
Okay,
you know, it just crossed their fucking path. That's it.
I see.
That's an impression. Right?
It speaks to their interest, basically, and came across their...
No, like either YouTube's algorithm threw it in front of their face, they scrolled by it, blah, 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 blah. That's an impression. Like, it was... Or, like, let's say it was open on their home screen, right? And they had 20 videos open on that screen, and your video was on that screen, and they scrolled by it. That's a fucking impression, okay?
I see.
You know? TikTok will give you a view for that shit.
For real?
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes sense, like, if you view the, like, thumbnail for a little bit that plays the automatic little video. If you, like, view that for a bit and it caught your eye, that makes sense. But if it's not, like, time calculated, then it happens to come across your feed and you're just like, yeah.
You scroll by a YouTube video and you just let it pass on YouTube Shorts, it's an impression. You scroll by a TikTok video and it gets a small amount of
like just the technicality there.
Yeah, like you scroll by it enough on TikTok, they give you the view. Okay,
I got you.
And so what I've picked up is, in my opinion, those views on YouTube go farther.
Nice.
You know, because I've also got a TikTok. I've generated like 15 to 20,000 views on the TikTok.
On your videos.
I posted some full clips on there that are close to like 10 minutes, you know, and there's some 5-minute clips, and then most of them are about 1 minute, you know, and I've got some 10-minute clips. And when I get into that, I mean, I've posted close to 200 videos in the 2 months on YouTube that have generated those views.
Nice.
You know, it's not like I've just put a single video on there and I generated and it popped up. No, I have 200 videos in the last 2 months that are now on my YouTube that are shorts, captioned shorts, little snippets, clips, little things, you know, and each one of those is maybe generated.
And are these just things like that have caught your eye during your interviews, or things that you've like intentionally like recorded, or is it just a little bit of both?
Well, so every single podcast and episode I've done has been videoed.
Right, of course.
Every single one of them. So I still have all that content.
So you just take like snippets out of it and just like things that like really speak to you. Just like, wow, that's some good content right there.
Yeah.
I'm going to create a little short with this and kind of do a little collab and release it and see how it pops off.
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll take some of my old footage. A lot of what I used to film was always in 720 or 1080. And that was because the editing software I had back in that time was not something that I paid for or had the ability to pay for.
I see.
And so I used Lightworks, which is a fantastic program, but when you don't pay for it, you're only limited to the capability of rendering your videos into 720p. Okay, yeah. 720p is great.
Middle grade.
Yeah, but it's the shit that is like, if your phone has low latency, you're traveling, you're driving through the mountains, you're going to be watching stuff on 720p.
Yeah, it's not going to be a 1080.
Yeah,
I got you.
And so,
or there a 920 as well?
But some of it would be recorded in 1080, but then processed down into 720 because that was my editing software and how it had to do. And Lightworks, like I said, great program, very powerful editing software, but it's a little complicated, you know? So that's also why at the time I had invested so much myself and my time into using that, is because it is complicated and I learned it. So I was kind of stuck on it. I was like, okay, Lightworks in 720p.
That's usually how it goes.
You know, and then there was a point in time where I was blessed with the Adobe package. My brother is a photographer in LA and he sponsors this podcast. Love you, brother.
That's something that like from some people really, really like sought after, I guess I should say.
And some people, that's something that people would kill for, having the ability to use when they can't pay for it.
Exactly.
I have no ability to pay for something that's $200 a year right now that I can't justify using.
Right.
You know, when I've already invested
especially
so much
like
money.
Just to get your bearings and learn the curve and get into where you actually feel like not cringy about the material you're putting out there.
And so at the time of really producing a lot of episodes, I was blessed with the ability to upgrade to Adobe. I was overwhelmed with the amount of knowledge that I had to consume with this new Adobe package. And not only did I have to learn how to use it on the fly, because I switched on, like in one day I was like, cool, now I'm using Adobe. So I was still trying to post episodes like that the same day of recording and stuff like that. I haven't invested any of my time into the actual ability of learning how to edit. Yeah. Or my ability in editing. Like I hadn't invested in myself at all. You know,
sometimes you just don't have the time to take and be that selfish.
With how much was going on with the recording and everything. So, you know, starting the show back up, I had to do all this learning because I didn't have new content. You know, so I was like, fuck, all I have right now is an episode I recorded with a homie and one other episode I recorded, and they weren't necessarily the best producing jobs on my end. You know, like the audio was good, the show was good,
knocking a little bit of the rust off, you know, getting back into it.
100%.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's what really struck all that time of working on the core aspects and the fundamentals of this shit that I'm doing. Like, dude, I mean,
honestly, you come back and show, hey, I've been away for this little time, but look how much better my shit is. Look at the investment that I made while I was away. I've been investing in myself. And I've been learning my craft, and this is the product of my hard work that I took a little leave from and gained this perspective and invested in myself. So enjoy. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Enjoy your fucking self. Let's see what's up. Like, let me know. Let me know what you think about the investment that I just made.
And what's even cooler about that, like, so I had to take the old footage and really figure out how the fuck am I going to continue to generate views without getting new content, you know? And I was able to do that. I went from 30,000 and then the next month 70,000 on just taking my old content and, for one, taking it from that 720p we were talking about and upscaling it to 4K.
Yeah.
So I'd taken all my old videos and making those shorts in 4K and not just posting them in that shitty lower quality. Okay. And most importantly, actually adding captions.
Oh, yeah?
Captioning your videos in today's meme fucking world is essential. If you don't have captions, you lose 90% of your fucking audience. It's insane.
Yeah, they have to invest energy and attention into something that's like, what did he say? Did he say that correctly? Instead of just being like, oh, yeah, you listen and you read at the same time. That's just what we do nowadays to really get the message clear. So
Right.
Yeah.
So 4K captions, shorts was my road to 100,000.
Yeah, you learn those like the 3 keys.
Yeah. And now the next step from here is better content, shorts and captions. You know, because I had the content. You know, I had the old content, and I had the angles that I did. I had the cameras that I used, and I had most importantly the lighting that I used.
Right.
Was awful. Awful. Everybody.
The spotlight.
Yeah, I had like 4 fucking ring lights, and they would come over and be like, pow, pow, pow.
These are nice, bud.
Yeah, and the way these are set up is
vibe.
they have a primary light now and a fill light. Before I would just have primary lights.
Interrogation lights?
Yes, you were being interviewed by Youngblood Podcast.
Yeah,
Like, it was.
I don't speak without my lawyer. Just letting you know. I don't care how bright your lights are. I don't talk
Exactly.
about nothing.
And so I improved the lighting. Most importantly, the little thing that I looked over. And now, with those little tiny changes, I've also incorporated a lot of AI structure into the backbone of the show.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that. It was very, very interesting.
Thank you. And the main thing I mean with AI is I use both Google and ChatGPT to, for one, generate for every episode and every description and everything that I do. For example, you have 20 old videos on YouTube. You've written your own descriptions, little biographies of your guests and things like that.
You're in your own dialogue, basically.
Yeah, and I've done all of that for every episode in the past. Been able to incorporate into those old episodes was that AI writing. And I would take what I wrote and incorporate it into an AI generator and say, this is what I already did. This is the theme of the podcast. Give it a lot of context and say, take my writing, improve it slightly, check for grammar, and make it eye-popping.
Yeah.
And it would do that.
I mean, even so, that's not too shabby, bro. It's not too shabby to have that sort of companion in that tool.
Right.
Not a companion. I'm like trying to like humanize this motherfucking thing. Having that tool at your disposal.
Utilizing that tool is something that you cannot get away with.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get away with not doing it because, like, in today's day of literature and generative writing and AI, you have no way of competing unless you're a master at literature and writing. And, you know, I consider myself a very strong writer. I've almost written an entire novel that I haven't put out, but I've been writing for years, you know, and it's something that I take a lot of pride in. And I was like, damn, all right, you know, this is fucking good writing, but it's not good enough.
I mean, back in the day, you didn't have that tool at your disposal to be able to up your game. And to be honest, just because we have tools at our disposal, most people don't utilize it. Like we said earlier, bust out the pocket computer. Let's look this motherfucker up and get this information that you and I are both unsure about. It's easy to just like brush it off because we take it for granted. Like, I have this thing, I can look it up anytime. But this conversation and this curiosity about the topic isn't just going to be an every single time thing. Like, we have this interest, spark this curiosity, let's utilize the tools. I have this passion. I'll have this desire to create this content and spread this message. I'm going to utilize the tools. I have this downtime doing my freaking surgery. I can invest in my time, invest in myself, learn a skill set, or I could play video games. You know what I mean? We all made choices, bro, and you're doing the damn thing, and it's all sparked by passion, need, whatever that thing is that drives you, bro, and you're just fucking doing it, bro. It's good for you.
It started originally to what? In 2020 when the show was established, it was because that's when I broke my back. And I went through COVID, and I really wanted to do stand-up comedy. And I was like, fuck, dude, like, stand-up comedy is not something I'm going to be able to do. You know, and
I can't stand. How am I supposed to do stand-up comedy,
they call it
bro?
stand-up comedy, not
sit-down comedy.
Not sit down and laugh at me.
Not lean and laugh over here, bro.
Stand-up comedy, not sit down and laugh at me, motherfucker.
Hop and ha-ha.
Hobble and ha-ha.
Hobble and ha.
And I was just like, at that point, I was healing from a fucking shitty accident. I was still paying rent for my apartment in Boise, but I didn't want to just stay there by myself. And so I was living with my parents.
Staying with them.
Yeah, I was staying with my parents. Dude, fuck being alone on COVID. And that's all. The best part about that was, like, I just got to spend time with my pop and
I think that was the best part of COVID for a lot of people. It just kind of
slowed things down for life.
Reinstilled that family bond and that community.
Bro,
you know what I mean?
I got to throw a baseball with my dad like 15, 20 times.
Dude.
You know? And that was after I healed up, but a couple weeks into it, I was like, Pop. And my dad's also super disabled. Like, my dad's got fucking iron body. He was a motocross rider for years, fucking skier for years, fucking Just he's been beat the fuck up. He's got a fake hip, fake shoulder, fake back.
Yeah.
He's got a Dr. Oz fucking apparatus in his spine with 9 screws in his spine.
Bionic Man.
Yeah,
bro.
we call him
Jesus
Iron Man, bro.
Christ.
And so
Iron Man.
yeah, and so for me to be able to be like, Bob, let's go fucking toss the ball for a little bit, dude, and just throw a baseball with my dad 10, 15 times over COVID. Like, shit, I can't even remember the last time I thrown a ball with my dad now.
Right.
You know, and at that time I was already 25 years old, you know, so like if it wasn't for that major force of camaraderie that I had to do with him, you know, the government was like, you have to stay home. And if it wasn't for that instance, I would have not just been over to my parents' house.
The silver lining of that whole thing, bro. Right. Silver lining of that whole thing. And here you are years later, and that's already something you're referring back to as like a special moment because of something that happened and was detrimental for some people. You know what I mean? Like, there's a silver lining and everything. And there it was, man. And I guarantee you're sitting there with a twinkle in your eye telling this story about a special memory you have with your pops as an adult doing something from your childhood that you guys bonded over. I guarantee you're going to tell this story to your kids someday and, you know, down the line. And, you know, like I said, maybe that's that blessing that a lot of people really got to have going through that. And some people were going through a lot of heartache and some people got that. So it is what it is, you know what I mean? And good for you, bro. Good for you and good for your pops, dude.
I know, right?
Like,
how cool is that?
I'm sure he's thinking and holding that same and cherishing that same memory, bro. It's very amazing, bro. It's good for you, man. That's all I have to say. So.
And with that, you know, so I was able to turn that shitty situation into a podcast. And at the time, like, it was incredibly difficult to get people on the show or to even get people to give me their time because
the commodity, bro.
For one, first starting a podcast that is guest based and oriented. Something I don't really talk about a lot is how often I had people turn me down in the beginning because they wanted to come on an established show. It
is a little intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. Like, me as an individual, you know, I like to isolate. I like to do my own thing, and I like to recluse. And you know, it's not fun being vulnerable in a lot of people's eyes, but like, at the end of the day, like, I'm going to preach it. I'm always going to preach it. Those are the times that we grow, those uncomfortable moments and putting ourselves out there and giving our testimony even, like, to some degree, or just, like, letting people see the, like, light that you have and the light that shines from you in this world. Like, it is important, dude. We can let our fears censor that or deter us from shining, but at the end of the day, man, do it. Do it and see how it makes you feel and see how... For one, see how it makes you feel deep down as a person, being vulnerable and knowing you put yourself in that situation that you know you didn't want to be in, but you did it anyways, and be honest with yourself and take the message for what it is and then try it again, or you know what I mean? If you like to stay in your own lane and you like to stay in your safe place, like, and that's what you got to do to be comfortable in your own skin, man, like, I'm not going to tell you, but I'm going to say my testimony, it's an opportunity to grow those moments, man, and they don't come around as often as you would think.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially if you're not subjecting yourself to it and open to it. Like, if you're open to that sort of thing, you'd be amazed. Like, do it for a week, do it for a month, and do it for a year and see who you are at the end of that year and, like, be like, dude, shit, I put myself in some like, not fun places to be in the moment, but then I look back and it's like, look at me now, though. It doesn't even faze me to be in that situation. Mm-hmm. I still don't like it. I still don't like being in that position because I like to isolate. But if I have to be, and I know that, like, some good can come of it, I can spark something in someone, or, you know, I can gain something within myself.
Which is what putting yourself out there on the show did for you.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Right.
So, like, I'm telling you, bro, it's not necessarily my comfort zone being vulnerable like this, but I'm glad to be here, bro, right. And I'm glad that you do this, and this is something you're passionate about, and it gave me an opportunity to grow, and whatever happens with the energy that both of us have put into this podcast, it is what it is, and I feel good about it. And
so I'm glad that it's gotten to that point.
Yeah.
Because before it was a major pattern of people saying, try me again when it's established.
I see.
Right, and
I want to be a product of the the results of all this.
I want to know. I don't want to be the beginning. Yeah, like I like it was, especially because at the time of starting it was
selfish
very
mentality in a way.
not well. Like the thing
Like,
is, like it's also I'm not putting myself out there. Like just me, somebody else is also putting themselves out there. And back when I first started, people wanted to be putting themselves out there on something that their time was worthy of it.
The time.
You know,
Right. You're almost asking a little bit of a favor.
yes,
You know,
100%. So like if you're out there trying to run a guest-based podcast, know that the beginning is gonna be tough for that reason. There's gonna be a lot of people that like are gonna treat coming on your show as a favor.
Dude, honestly, like, I'm your homeboy, bro. I love you. And like, my selfish mentality, there was moments where I was just like, man, I don't really want to be like vulnerable like that. But big picture, dude, I'm being a part of something my homeboy is very passionate about, and like some good can come of this. So why the fuck wouldn't I put my energy into something that has like not very many, like my own selfish, like I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to like pull myself out there, and really that's the only reason.
You didn't see,
that's the only reason though, and my time, like
if you didn't see all of what I put into this already.
Yeah, come hang out a little bit and watch them set up.
You know,
it's a process.
Exactly. But like the thing is, like, if this was something that I had called you about 3 years ago over COVID and said, Jimbo, come to my house over this fucking lockdown. You're not supposed to come over to anybody's house or travel or even leave. Break some rules. Come over here. Give me your fucking time. Give me your fucking effort. And not only are you going to do that, put yourself out there.
It takes a certain type of person, and it is asking a personal favor.
And I did find them. But
I can see that.
But in the beginning, that's what it was. It was actually asking a favor of people. Like, and it was tough. Like, I had to do...
Dude, there's nothing wrong with asking favors. I'll say that. Like, none of us would be where we're at if it wasn't for somebody helping us out. You know what I mean? We all need help, and there's no shame in that. Give something back to them.
Exactly. I had
for
nothing
the
to
time
offer.
that they're giving. Yeah, I can see that.
I had nothing to offer.
Hey, full circle, bro.
Like you said, it was 100% a favor.
I got you.
I was asking favors. And if you're out there trying to start a podcast, if you're listening to this, like, that's what you're going to run into.
Right.
People who I asked to come on my show, I have the ability to show them what I've done and say, I've put in the grind. I have local artists. I have realtors. I offer a platform for people. I'm not out here interviewing famous people, fucking rock stars. Yeah, they're local people whose dream would be on like Joe Rogan or some shit like that, you know, and then to be on a platform that big. Is this platform that big? No. But is this a place for them?
A safe place.
To put their name out there, to put their product out there, to put their
testimony,
what they produce out there. And that's a lot of what I try to do on Young Blood Podcast is bring these local, aspiring, influential figures and give them a place to be that. You know, because yes, they're already doing it on their platform, but why not come on mine?
Why not?
You know, and then we'll both help each other out. I'll do all this. I'll do the work. I'll produce the video. I'll give you fucking shorts, TikToks, all this stuff. All you got to do is share it. And share me.
I mean, sounds pretty fair to me, honestly. And if it's something you're passionate about, especially like not just doing you a favor, but if you like legitimately have a message to spread to this world that's going to bring us together as a civilization, this is a platform to be heard. And even if it's only by a handful of people.
Right.
You are getting energy or giving energy, and it's creating energy or inspiration or whatever it may give. You know what I mean? And it goes both ways. Respect this platform and use it for what you want to put out into this world. Like, I guess good or bad, you have that freedom. You have that decision to make, but, you know.
There's never been a single misuse of this energy.
Right.
I mean, in
freedom of speech.
In my
on your platform.
Yes,
I got you.
The people,
I was like, I don't know, bro. Like
the people who came on have really been phenomenal, and they've picked up on the energy of this. They've picked up on the goal of this, and they've contributed to it in such a way that the only thing I can give back is making sure I get that content out there for them.
Yeah. And I mean, we make contributions no matter what we're doing. Dude, I could come on here and be a radical POS and like in whatever you believe, whatever it is,
Right.
and you can inspire people to not be like you, to look at you and be like, dude, this guy. Or, you know, I guess sometimes you're going to inspire people. It's there for you to receive based off of your level of perception. It's there. You can take it like, oh, this dude's like a douchebag. I should be a douchebag. Or you can look at it and be like, this guy, man, I don't want to be like this guy. You know what I mean? It's
Right, learn
it's
from
there.
it.
Yeah, it's always there's
Exactly.
always a message there, regardless of the messenger. Which is again a testimony about like the amount of time and effort you have to put into it, rewatching, editing, cutting, all that sort of shit. I don't like the sound of my own voice.
You
typically, but
might not right now in the headphones, but once you hear yourself on Spotify, you're gonna be shocked.
I will say my chick says she likes my accent, and I'm like, what?
So there's people.
I'm like a stewing pot of accents. I got like a weird ass combination going. Yeah, the dialect.
Yeah, because being from California, being from Idaho,
California, Idaho,
in the Northwest, you
being
get
a little bit hippie, being a little bit of hood, growing up the way you grow up. You know what I mean? I'm a hoodie.
Dude, you know one thing that people do not fucking give Joe Rogan credit for, and I probably never would have given him credit for this until starting a podcast, is the man's a professional piss holder.
Oh, he just sits there and puts
Dude,
in
and he
marathon
doesn't talk about it
conversations.
often, but he's like, dude, I can hold my piss for like 3 hours.
But why not just like, I guess like there's time and place to take a pause, but like why not like be professional and be like, hey, not saying Joe Rogan.
His show
huge
is
fan of Joe Rogan, but
also kind of structured
just
on
being
how-
like, all right, good pause. I gotta take a fucking.
He does
piss
though, but
and
he
eat
does though,
some
but at the
fucking
same
elk
time,
right now, motherfucker. I'm
he's
hungry
got to
and I gotta
show
take a piss.
that the people that he has on aren't homies.
Oh, they're there on a
They're
schedule.
there on his
I got
fucking on their fucking time, and
Especially,
he's giving
like-
them fucking, you know, it's like Elon Musk. How pissed would Elon be if I took 5, 6, 7 pee breaks because I was drinking too much beer?
I think Joe
that kind of
Rogan
thing, you know what I'm
might
saying?
get past.
But I thought he might take a lot of pee breaks too. And there are some times you hear on his show where he takes breaks like that. Like, I gotta pee. But he genuinely knows, like, the flow of the conversation just now stopped because I had to take a piss. Right?
It's true. Yeah.
did,
You get
100%.
you get a little bit passionate about the conversation. You have to take that break. I get it. But that's why I said like being a professional and realizing when it is and isn't acceptable to do so.
Exactly.
You know
But
what I mean?
also at the same time, like, to me, that's something that, you know, if I cannot hold it, I need to consider drinking
if
less
you
beer.
can't, I got
during
you. That's
shows and
your
stuff
end of
like
being a
that.
professional for sure. Hell yeah.
Exactly, you know?
Hell yeah. It's you being accountable for like I'm taking your time.
Granted, though, the alpha brain
should've been taking a
gives me
piss.
a little fucking bladder, dude.
Oh, alpha brain. I'll say it.
And dude, it gives
the best.
it's amazing. But
the best.
anything upper related with caffeine in it, or like, you know, with the lion's mane that it has in it and stuff like that. And I already take medication for ADHD, Vyvanse. You
Right.
know,
Black label and regular label. What's your opinion?
both.
Depending upon the circumstance, correct? Situation.
Black Label is
Crispy.
it's amazing. That's the thing about it. Like Black Label Alpha Brain, I have personally used it as somebody who takes ADHD medication as a substitute. You know, because at the time I couldn't get on medication, and I used Alpha Brain, and I have a severe level of ADHD. You know, so trying to find something that's non-pharmaceutical
Yeah.
that works on a level of that
With
has
your
always
medication
been
as
tough.
well, right?
without smoking meth. You know, like that's the only other way you
It
can.
works for me without doing crack.
Yeah, like that at that level, like amphetamine is the only other thing you can find other than like vitamin D,
Adderall.
exercise. That's what I mean. That's what Vyvanse
Everybody
is.
wants the Adderall.
But
Except for me.
people out
just
there
want that
looking
weed.
for a substitute that is viable, and in my opinion, makes a substantial difference for dopamine regulation, impulse control, and overall
Cognitive recollection. too.
cognitive recollection and ability to break ADHD paralysis.
Yeah.
A lot of what people struggle with heavy ADHD is the inability to get up and start their day. The lack of motivation, because they have so much motivation. They have a million things going on in their brain where they feel
They just kind of get lost in it.
and they get lost in it. And then what happens is you start going over all of those actions and activities and chores, responsibilities in your brain when your day starts. You go, I'm going to do this, right? And then your aspirations are so big that they increase and they go into bigger thoughts and all this stuff, right? And then what that'll turn into is this cycle of like, okay, cool, let's do this. And you're sitting there on your phone, TikTok, Instagram, thinking about your day, what is going to happen, how is it going to go, drinking your
Before
coffee.
too long, you look at the clock and it's freaking 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, or in the evening, and you're just like, oh shit,
Before
I don't
too
even have time
long,
to do
it's
any
been
of that.
an hour or two, and you're aware of what's like. That's why it's called paralysis. You're like, it doesn't just go out of nowhere.
Yeah, I see.
It turns into so 20 minutes goes by and you're like, I need to start my stuff.
Right.
30 minutes goes by, I need to start my shit. And then you add more to the list, and you're like, okay, cool. I didn't do that, but now I need to do this too because now I've been thinking for 30 more minutes and I've thought about more things. So those lists get bigger, and then the guilt from not doing any of those first items gets bigger.
Starts to build behind. Yeah.
And then so another hour goes by, your list has gotten bigger, and so is your guilt. That keeps building for 2, 3, 4, or 5 more hours. And then that's where you're like, fuck, I'm really depressed because I didn't do shit.
Instead of prioritizing 1 or 2 of those, breaking down what it takes to get from A to B and executing your fucking plan and moving on to the other ones, you just sit there and overthink the fuck out of it and just make the situation bigger, and then just sit there and beat the shit out of yourself because you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah, and so
That's
Alpha
a vicious
Brain,
cycle, bruv.
Right, exactly. And so Alpha Brain, for me, gave me a pretty good comparison of what the ADHD medication did, in a sense of helping me control the dopamine, helping me control the cognitive ability to get up and start a small task.
Yeah.
And even without the help of medication and with just a big sense of self-awareness, one thing that I've found that really, really helped me through those paralysis moments, even without being on the Alpha Brain or even without being on Vyvanse or Ritalin or Adderall, what I found to be helpful was somebody had posted this on like an ADHD page or something along those lines, and it said to take that paralysis and all of those giant thoughts that are weighing on your shoulders and take the absolute smallest, minute, tiniest task that you can think of. And it's not even on that list, but do it.
I see.
Take a piss. Turn the light off. Grab the remote. Start your fucking process.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I've found that just that ability of clicking yourself out of that like thought process with a little action tends to help you get out of that paralysis.
Like most of the time with me, I get going on a task or something that's like really weighed on my mind for a while, and I just like get going on it, and I look back at the time and I'm like, dude, that took me like 15, 20 minutes a lot of the time, and I'm just like, the amount of time alone that I've sat here and tripped about this thing that I need to get done, that I didn't want to do, that I put off.
Right.
I finally got it done, and it took 15, 20 minutes,
Right.
and I've been worrying about this shit for hours.
Right.
Like, this shit's ridiculous, bro.
Right.
Like, check yourself. Check yourself, bro. Like, take some Alpha Brain and do something with your life.
And that's why I liked the Alpha Brain.
Yeah.
Especially when I figured out...
Definitely the focus mentality, or the focus aspect of that shit.
I think for me, a lot of what helped out of the Alpha Brain Black Label was Lion's Mane. For me. Like Lion's Mane really does wonders for me personally.
It's mainly for like the memory and the cognitive.
Yeah, and I've had a brain injury that really, really fucked me up. And I take the Lion's I take a lot of the Lion's Mane, honestly. Like there's a certain amount you should take, and there's a certain amount I take.
I mean, something natural like that, like your body's gonna just get rid of the shit that it doesn't need a lot of the time.
There is Lion's Mane in Alpha Brain already. And so I take a daily recommended dose of Lion's Mane, and when I take that mixed with the Alpha Brain Black Label, I will take one less pill of the Lion's Mane to accommodate for the amount of Lion's Mane in Alpha Brain, because Lion's Mane in Alpha Brain really isn't that much. There's not a whole lot of it.
It's a supplement. It's a bunch of different products.
And I found myself to have a lot of success with just Lion's Mane by itself. And I found myself to have a lot of success with Black Label by itself. And I found myself to have a decent amount of success with Alpha Brain regular label by itself, and the thing, I was using it as a substitute for ADHD medication. So I had higher expectations.
I mean, like, you can only do so fucking much. I mean, there's a time and place for certain medications.
But yeah, at the same time, I wasn't expecting it to be an alternative, but I was using it as the closest alternative that I could find that worked for me.
So you had high expectations, high hopes.
I've tried ADHD meds in the past, so I was hoping they might be like that.
I see.
But not expecting it to be like that.
Yeah,
and also looking for something that might give me a similar sense of that. That was a lot of it. I wanted something to make me be as productive and successful on those medications without actually having to go and get them, because you can buy this on Amazon.
Right.
And so at the time, they worked. I liked it. It was great. And what I found success in was taking Alpha Brain regular on a daily basis with lion's mane to kind of simulate what's in the black label, because there is lion's mane in the black label and quite a few other things. And when I would really have a big day and know that, like, hey, I got to work a double today, or I have a big, meeting today with my bosses, or anything where I needed to really make sure that I was dialed in, I would take the black label.
Of course.
And you do not take the black label the same day as you take the regular Alpha Brain. You're not supposed to take them together.
Don't double up.
Yeah, no, you don't. So as long as you take the lion's mane and you take one of them, I did amazing. And then on days where I really needed to know, like, hey, like, you're going to have a lot of sit-down computer work and really need to be extra attentive.
That mental crush.
Yeah, you need to have that mental
crunch
today. That's when I would take the black label, and it really just would fucking kick ass.
I'll say, I'll give the same testimony. That black label, it really does. It makes a big difference, and especially if you have, like, day-to-day anxiety, or, like you said, like, just a little bit of scatterbrain, not able to, like, dial in all your brainstorming thoughts and things that you need to tackle throughout the day. It really does. It helps. It gets you crispy. That's what I say. It just gets you really crispy, like, dialed in and firing on all cylinders. So I will say I like the black label.
So do you have ADHD?
I haven't been diagnosed with anything, but I got everything that stems from PTSD, basically.
Right.
And it can be a variety of things, bipolar, whatever the hell it is. But I don't think I'm bipolar. But I wouldn't be surprised. I'm pretty even kill, calm demeanor. Like, I'm not too hard to dial in.
See, my older brother, so let's kind of come on from the other perspective. My older brother, who claims he also has ADHD, I don't think he's ever actually been diagnosed, but very successful director of operations down in Southern California of a men's sober living community. He, for some reason, said to me, he was like, I really don't like the Alpha Brain. Like, it doesn't do it for me, because he could feel like, I honestly want to say, like, he was expecting a lot from it.
I see.
Being somebody with ADHD, like, he actually does need that regulatory help with his dopamine.
Yeah.
And versus with somebody who doesn't have ADHD, he didn't see the benefits as much as somebody without it. I feel like people with ADHD might be disappointed
because they already have some of the things that you're going to gain from it, or what?
Well, okay, so let me rewind. People with ADHD who are unmedicated and looking to find what they're lacking aren't going to get it from Alpha Brain and aren't going to get it from Alpha Brain Black Label. It's going to take just mental strength in general. Like, it's going to take a sense of having that grind and that push of being able to still push through. And a lot of what ADHD is, when you're younger especially, is a sense of feeling stupid. And that's mainly pointed at people who are young and ignorant to what ADHD is, or might not have been diagnosed yet and don't know why they have an issue learning.
Dude, I'll say as a kid, like, I felt like I was ignorant to my surroundings mainly, felt like I understood how to do stuff, but paying attention to be able to execute it, it was tough, you know what I mean? But
see, I was diagnosed late. Like, I was 15 and my parents thought I was dyslexic is what it was. They thought I was dyslexic. I didn't know I was ADHD, but like jokingly they'd be like ADD, ha ha ha. Like, that'd just be like jokes, like, you're so ADD. But it wouldn't actually be like, yeah, I'm ADHD, fool. Like, duh, I cannot sit still. Yeah, back then it wasn't.
Right.
Especially in my family that was just super tight knit and supportive. We were a close knit family unit, so they didn't think that they needed anything more than just like moral support and stuff like that, you know, which still went very far.
Of course, yeah.
You know, but at the same time, you know, it would have been great to be put on Ritalin when I was like 6 because fuck, I needed it.
Right.
And I hate to also be an advocate for that because I don't think it's super awesome to medicate kids, and I don't think I would have been better off if I was medicated when I was 6 or 7 years old. But I would have liked to have been diagnosed.
Right.
You
I
know,
mean, like just understanding and knowing what you're into and knowing like there's not anything wrong with me, man. Like it's just something that I have to deal with. Like it's not that I'm just stupid or I just can't pay attention or like whatever the case may be. You don't sit there and beat the fuck out of yourself about it. You just understand it and you learn to coexist with it and like ebb and flow with it. And when you have those moments.
See, I failed algebra 5 times until they put me in remedial algebra, and I was able to pass it just because I had somebody take more time with me and be able to like teach me how to do it a little better. And at the time as well, that's when I started taking medication. It was like I passed algebra for the first time after being medicated.
I see.
You know, and which was a mind-boggling thing for me. You know, because I was sitting there like for years.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I just needed a little bit of help with my...
dude, 100%. That's what I thought. You know, and I was like, fuck, dude, like I am fine. Like, and it gave me this almost like sense of superpower. Like I was like, damn, dude, like you're not stupid. Like the revelation that I felt at the age of like, I want to say fucking 16 to 18, and I was just like, oh, you can actually do this shit. Wow.
I mean,
but I already, dude, well, the crazy thing was too, I had already spent like fucking 3-4 years being committed to the Marine Corps, thinking that I wasn't capable of ever amounting anything. You know, I got in trouble in high school every other day, and I had my own seat in the office. But I had never once gotten suspended because I was best friends with the Marine recruiter who worked at the high school and was like, or not the Marine recruiter, but the fucking the disciplinary administrator who was good friends with the Marine recruiter. And I told him I wanted to go into the military because I knew I wasn't going to do anything better. And he was like, we're going to keep you out of trouble at least. Right. So every time I'd get sent to the office, he'd pull me into his office and say, you're good. You know, so for years I was like, damn, dude, I'm just going to go to war. Fuck it, you know, which is even crazier to me. I was committed to just saying, yeah, well, I'm not worth more than anything than amounting to the bare minimum of setting myself off to fucking die.
I mean, it makes sense, dude. Like, you had that revelation because of the whole thing, because, like, you put so much pressure and doubt, and you're so hard on yourself, and then in your environment, everybody's concerned about you. Everybody's worried about your same capabilities and your same ceiling when it comes to your mental capacity. And then you finally get a relief and an indicator, man, it's not just me. I just need a little bit of help, and you get that tool, and it's not hindering your life anymore. Like, that's amazing, bro. And that's like what I'm saying. Like, everybody needs help, whether it's a little bit of love and support and guidance, or if it's like legitimate, I need some medication to feel safe in my own head and to like not be so fucking mean to myself. Like, it's not fun to like have your brain not be nice to you sometimes, you know, and it's not a fun place to not feel like safe alone and in your own head. And everybody needs something. Like, some people just a hug and like knowing like, hey, this is a safe place for you to be vulnerable and I'm here for you. Those aren't just words. I love you and I care about you. And I'm actually here for you, bro. Like, that means something to some people, and I can pull it out. But some people just need medication, and like they need whatever it is. If it's marijuana, if it's fucking prescribed medications, like, just be honest and like explore the options that are out there for you. Don't just take somebody's word for it. Do your own research and find whatever it takes for you to be okay and be fulfilled and loving your own life and loving yourself. You know what I mean? Do it. Find it. Explore it. Take accountability for your own healing process. And, you know, it's out there. I feel like it's out there, and some people just feel helpless. But
take accountability for your own healing process.
Dude, that's where we all... That's where we all like get caught up, because of whether pride or fear of being vulnerable or like not feeling like you have the tools or support or there's nothing out there. But the thing is, nobody asked for that thing to happen to us. Nobody asked for it. And we all took whatever happened in a certain way that's very real to us, and it needs to be respected by ourselves and by everybody else. But at the end of the day, you have to take accountability for your own healing. Nobody asked to get stabbed, but nobody asked to get bled on either. You know what I mean? And dude, really? Somebody sees somebody that goes through that and they take accountability and they gain those strengths that you can't gain any other way and they're a better person at the end. You inspire people. And that's probably some of the most powerful things you can do on this world is inspire each other. If you're inspiring the man next to you to be a better person and showing him it's doable, you can do this shit. I did it. I didn't think I could. Like, to be honest, you show that vulnerability and you show that inner strength and that ability to do it. It's inspiration. Sparking that fire in the man and woman next to you is something that isn't common, but it snowballs. That's a wildfire waiting to happen. That's a fire of love, though. And, you know, that's your community. That's your man next to you. And that's somebody that's a father, husband, wife, mother, sister, brother. We're all in it together, man. So just be that inspiration, be that strength, be that testimony that you needed, be that good that we all need in this life. We all need it. We all need help. We all need each other. Right. It's there, though. It's you.
That got you to the point of where you are, you know, or even without visiting on those trials and tribulations, just visiting on the fact that those don't need to be what defines us.
They don't have to be hindering. Not that thing you once did or that thing that you once went through. You're not. That's something that built you to who you are. Or, right. You know, it's an opportunity that you were faced with and you took it one way or another. Right.
You know, that's what this show is about is, you know, originally we've always been do as the locals do, you know, and now a lot of what Youngblood Podcast is focusing its future on is people's stories, influential artists, community members. Not everybody has a story about what art they do, you know, but everybody has a story of how they got there.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. And that's what I want to bring to the table for people. You know, I've set up so many times to where this to me is just what I do.
I mean, I feel it was a very safe and comfortable environment to just have a conversation and, you know, through conversation, kind of see where we've been, where we came from, and where we are now because of it. It doesn't have to necessarily be an in-depth testimony of like, hey, these are the things that happened to me, or this and that. But you can have your testimony and speak your energies and intentions into this world in a safe platform and expect nothing in return except for maybe to touch somebody or to get these things off of your chest. But it's been really cool to see your passion and the amount of energy that you put into this be a tool for me in my life to just let some shit off my chest, just be here hanging out, and just maybe something else will come of it, maybe not, dude, but I got something out of it. And, you know, it was because of your passion and the amount of time and energy that you put into this. And, you know, it's something to acknowledge, recognize, and appreciate, because, like, we do it with other forms of media and stuff. You know, it's easy to do it with a painting, or it's easy to do it with a freaking banger that you just vibe with. It's cool that people have passions in this world and in turn create opportunity and passions and spark inspiration in other people. It's a snowball effect, and then this world needs a lot more of it. And you're doing it, man. You're fucking doing it, bro. And, you know, even if it just brings you passion and joy and like fulfillment, nothing else really matters.
Right.
But you already know that I know that we both know. It's going to be more than that. And, you know, it's cool. It's cool that you are passionate about something and that's the result.
Right.
So that's what I will say. And it's safe. It's a safe platform. And, you know, it might be intimidating at first, but it's something you can work past, and it's something that just takes kind of diving both feet in. So just do it. Put yourself out there and learn something about yourself. And learn something about yourself.
If you're out there to start a podcast and you know you don't know what you're doing or you have no idea where to even start, you know, I'm not going to tell you to base yourself off of my experience whatsoever, because what I've done has been 100% based off of giving myself the opportunity to visit with a homie,
right?
And also, You know how many homies I've had on here that are actually like good ass friends, but I've never had a fucking hour-long conversation with them.
I mean, and we've known each other for right around 10 years now. So like, it's a platform to like inspire and grow closer. You know what I mean? So
it's a tool. You know, this gets posted. This is something that, cool, for sure. It's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be videos on YouTube and stuff like that. But the genuine interaction that you and I just got after 10 years of fucking friendship.
Right.
You know, like, dude, I've known Johnny for 10 years. I've known Edmund for 10 years. I've known Trevor for 10 years.
Ah, the boys, home team. Yeah, home team, shout out to the bro. Boys, the boys.
But I haven't actually had an opportunity to have anybody but you out of that circle.
Right.
On this show.
Hey, maybe this could be the first of us.
Right.
The first of the bunch, because they all have a story, which is wild because y'all grew up in the same town.
Unprecedented focus on the conversation is something you will never get in just
especially in this day and age, bro.
In just a room full of guys, bro. Like, you will never
I
get
think
that.
I've looked at my phone maybe twice, and I don't think I've seen you look at your phone a single time.
No,
so
and I never do. That used to
in the
actually
last,
be a rule.
What is this, like 2 hours? So, 2+ hours.
You know?
That's wild, bro.
And this is the only thing
we're OGs, so
that can get me to not look at my phone for hours, you know, and take seriously and to put in the time that I'm putting into this and to make sure that I feel like it's worth it. You know, I gotta do this right. I gotta make sure every camera's working right. Every camera's got the record button on. I got my angles right. I got my soundboard working. I got my computer interface on right. You know,
it's because you learned from the last guest or last couple guests or whatever, like not to rush this thing. Make sure it's not like if we would have done this last night, bro. Nah, dude. I was an old man status. I was like tired as hell. I don't really feel this right now, but I'll do it. I'm gonna do it.
And I caught it.
Yeah. And you do that.
You know,
and you used it still as an opportunity to test the waters, warm up. And we still did a little 20, 30-minute segment last night, and it was good to test the waters. And I woke up, took my alpha brain, was ready to roll. You know what I mean? So like came into it with a better mindset, crispy, ready to roll fresh. And I think it turned out amazing, bro. You asked what I thought, and that's pretty much one of the first things I said was like, it's a safe platform to like be yourself and express yourself.
Right.
And whatever comes of it, comes of it. So you know,
and
that's a testimony. Like if you would have tried to force that last night and just like we just rolled it because you wanted to get it done, you know what I mean? That's maybe not so professional and you wouldn't have got the product and the result that you probably wanted. You know what I mean?
So we've got a solid 10 years under our belt. We've got couple festivals. We've got countless memories at Trevor's house and Johnny's house.
Yeah. Just being knucklehead kids enjoying each other's company.
But I can't ever say, even the thing is like I've been to your crib in Twin Falls like to visit multiple times. Even though like just sitting and hanging out, the conversation we had then, genuinely like I can compare that conversation I had in your garage when I came over to hang out with you, Twin. When I was just there doing flooring. Yeah. To this, though.
Yeah.
You know, that's
it's a deeper interpersonal relationship that we learned about, like, oh, this is what he's made of, man. This is where he came from, and this is why he is who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically being in that situation I was in. I was working in Twin Falls for a couple weeks, being a Boise kid. Like, I was super fucking not stoked. I was like, this is shitty. I'm alone. Just hanging out with my boss, you know, and you're like, no, dude, come over and hang out, man. I was like, fuck it. And at that time, we'd already known each other fairly well, but like that to me was just so cool.
We never really had that one-on-one time. It'd always been like a big group thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And I could compare that time like that to how we are right now, you know?
Like compared to last year when you told me when I was going through some of the shit that I was going through, you're like, dude, come out.
Right.
Just enjoy each other's company. Let's get your mind off of it. And let's just like make some memories, man. Let's do some things to get it. It's the same, bro. It's the same.
Right.
Like it's those moments. That's probably what sparked that last year, bro, is like just that little bit of a bond that we had when you were working out there.
The sense of needing camaraderie when camaraderie was given.
Yes.
You know, like, fuck, dude, I genuinely needed that. And you gave it. Fuck, thanks, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like it goes both ways. And
it wasn't talked about. It wasn't it was just like, dude, bro, what's up? It's
exactly both in both accounts, for reals.
You know? So. And that's how our whole friend group has always been, you know.
We've always
Johnny,
always
Trevor.
been there for each other, always been like real with each other. It's been genuine friendship.
Yeah.
And, you know,
too real sometimes.
yeah. There's been some vulnerability there, and it's good though. It's good. You always need friends and people in your corner. You're gonna have the good memories. There's gonna be some spontaneous times that you just get together to get together. Those are the moments you look back and damn, bro, like that's my homeboy now.
Right.
Like there for each other. And times we didn't know we needed each other as much as we did, and the energy just it came together. And it's like something that you don't get the opportunity or even take the time sometime because you're too tired or whatever the fuck. But you look back, and those are the things that was a good time in my life that helped
Right.
build me up a little bit, be a better person, and appreciate things on a little deeper level.
Really makes you appreciate the little things, man. Is when I do that for you, and all of a sudden there's a time where I'm like, fuck, dude, like,
yeah,
I can go back and have that same camaraderie, Yeah. I want to quickly visit on why you're here in Colorado, what you're visiting for, what you're seeing.
Oh, so yeah, I'm just here to, first and foremost, I have a lot of friends out here, and over the years I've kind of not taken relationships for granted necessarily. I just didn't appreciate them to a deeper level that I really should, because good people and energy and people that genuinely just care about you and are rooting for you, it's out there. It's not a very big rarity, but to appreciate it and hold on to it, I think that is the rare part. So first and foremost, I'm out here to just hang out with my homies and create some memories that we can hold on to and talk about for years and the next time we get together. And secondly, like, I'm here to see the Red Rocks. I came out to this venue last year and I fell in love. And this year I'm going to see Wakan Rocks, man. I'm going to go see that wonky EDM shit, and I'm so stoked about it, dude. And I love it out here. It's such good vibes and just organic energy. And like I said, the vibrations out here just from the natural elements it's something to experience. I love it.
Right. So the first time you came out here was last year for Dirty Heads.
Yeah, Dirty Heads.
Dirty Heads at Red Rocks.
I'm going to go see Liquid Stranger, Taboo, Raven Scoon, Drink Your Water, and Cannibaliz. And then Sunday, we're going to church. We're going to Church Rocks. We're going to go see BTSM, Kaiwachi, which he's from Boise. You got to see Kaiwachi.
Hey, shout out to Kaiwachi, man. From our hometown, bro.
We're going to see that Skull Machine and then the Portals, man. And I'm stoked on that. And then we'll be driving back 11 hours back to Idaho Monday. See my kiddos. So
there you go. Well, man, we've been running it close to about 2 hours or more.
Like I said, we might have to do a part 2 one day, man. Genuine, easy flow conversation. Didn't need to have a script or anything like that. But like, dude, maybe one day we do origins. Get the why we are who we are, and it's okay to appreciate the hustle and find beauty in the struggle along the way, man. Because that's what it's all about, man. It's all about the journey, not the destination, and it's about the people that really touch our souls and like build us up to the people that we are around us, whether that's like your moms, your pops, your brother, your best friend, your family you get to pick, or just like somebody like the happen to cross your life, like a gym teacher, whatever the case may be, man. You can find beauty in every situation. It just takes looking at it in a certain light.
I offer people, and I give them a chance to say something, to do something, to put themselves out there. Is there anything that you didn't get a chance to say?
Honestly, that came out organically, just from the safe platform and just hanging out with my homeboy. You know what I mean? Having genuine conversation that's not forced. It just kind of come out. I guess if I had to say anything last, like, dude, love each other. Like, this love is free. That hate, that takes energy, and it's not doing anybody any good. Be vulnerable to your loved ones, reach out, speak about your needs and your boundaries and like the things that you need in your life to feel safe and feel comfortable and grow to your fullest potential. We all need love. We all deserve to feel safe and loved and respected in our own heads as well as our environment. And we all need each other, man. Spread that love. If you don't do it, nobody else is going to, man. And, those memories over those dollar bills, like, consider it, because the dollar bills, it seems to come and go, but the memories, man, and the things that you gain from the sentiments on those deep personal relationships and memories you create with those people that you love is like going to the grave with that instead of thousands of dollars in your bank account. It feels a lot better in my heart. You know what I mean? So just, that's it, bro. Just love each other. Spread that love. That love is free. And cherish your loved ones. Hold them close. This time that we have, spend it to whatever makes you feel fucking on fire and passionate and fulfilled in life. That's what you need to be chasing, not that dollar. And if that dollar is what makes you fucking feel that way, that's what you want out of life, genuinely in your heart, get your shit, bro. Like, we only get this one life. Go get what you want out of it and be honest with yourself. And take accountability for your own healing process, because only you can do that. It's nobody else's responsibility. Shit happens. It's your responsibility. That's it.
Amen. Take accountability for your healing process is probably the biggest thing I've taken away from this conversation that I've had with you tonight, man.
I mean,
you know, and anybody out there who has just came across Young Blood Podcast, I cannot thank you personally enough for being a part of this journey, even if this is the first time that you've been here, the 100th time that you've been here.
Or the 49th.
Or the 49th. I cannot thank you enough for being a part of this journey, this growth, this absolute freaking train wreck that we've been on, you know. And I say a train wreck because it's been a lot of ups, downs, hiatus, growths, different guests, losing episodes, you know, and just really heartbreak and you know, also falling in love. I've fallen in love with this entire process, the whole thing of it, you know. And something I can at least ask you guys to do, if you have Instagram, if you have freaking YouTube, if you have any of the platforms, Amazon, Spotify, Apple, TikTok, we're on all of them. We really are. And there is a couple of Youngblood podcasts out there. The main one is obviously this one, Youngblood Podcast, your boy. There is a Youngblood Podcast, Mental Health. They do great. It's an awesome show. Check them out. But Youngblood Podcast Colorado is what you are currently listening to. And if you had a exceptional time listening to us here today.
If you took anything from this at all, man.
If you took anything away from this at all, please at least do me a small favor and go to my YouTube, Youngblood Podcast Colorado, and subscribe. It does me a huge favor. If you don't want to subscribe and you want to buy me a cup of coffee, I also have Venmo, Youngblood Podcast. This has been Jimbo Pina.
Yes,
one of the most phenomenal episodes I've recorded to date, and I thank you all for being a part of today's journey. Youngblood Podcast is checking out, guys. This is October.
October 20th.
October 20th, 2023 with Jimbo Pina. This is Youngblood Podcast checking out. Thank you. Good night.